Subscribe to G-Man Boxing, great channel. So head on over there and click that red button, G-Man Boxing on YouTube. So as Eddie Hearn has said previously, the Anthony Joshua Kubrat Pulev fight and the Dillian Whyte fight and all his other shows are going ahead irrespective of whether crowds are allowed or not. And that is obviously good news for us boxing fans. It's good news for the boxers to some degree. Obviously, they'd prefer to have fans because not only does it give them a lift, but it also puts more money in their pockets by way of gate money. Okay, so that's the ideal scenario. But unfortunately, due to recent announcements, there won't be any fans in the UK for any of these boxing events for the remainder of 2020 and maybe into early 2021 at the very least. Now, Eddie Hearn had talked about maybe staging some of these fights in other countries, coming up with creative ideas. Now, to me, I don't know why. I mean, maybe he has behind the scenes, but he certainly hasn't talked about it publicly. I don't know why Eddie Hearn and many other promoters for that matter haven't looked into the possibility or the idea of putting a show on in Sweden, a major show, because people can travel freely between the UK and Sweden right now. And, you know, they could have a crowd out there. So I don't see why Hearn hasn't entertained that. Maybe because the situation is so political, there will be pressure against Eddie Hearn not to do that. Maybe the broadcaster wouldn't be on board with that because there's a lot of, let's just say it, a lot of propaganda against Sweden over this past year so far. But if it's viable, then I think that is something that Eddie Hearn should look at, putting in the AJ fight, or putting the Dillian Whyte fight or any of his major shows out in Sweden. And I say Sweden rather than Japan. You know, both countries they have a much more sensible policy than the UK has right now. But Japan is obviously a lot further afield. And therefore Sweden, with its close proximity to Britain, and currently there are no restrictions in terms of traveling between those two countries. So you could get UK fans going out there to actually attend the fight. And I'm sure it wouldn't have a huge capacity. It might be, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 or something, but you could still put something on. So I personally think that's the way that, if not Eddie Hearn, then some other major promoter out there, maybe Sauerland. Surely they've looked into, since they, do major boxing shows in Europe, surely they've looked into putting fights on in Sweden. Now, boxing was banned in Sweden for a long time, for many years. They recently made it legal again, was it in the past 10 or 15 years? So it's not a popular sport in that country at all. And obviously you'd need to get the approval of the Swedish government and all that kind of stuff. But I think that if they could pull something like that off, it would be a major shot in the arm for boxing. It would lift the spirits of people in Britain in general, especially sports fans. It would lift their spirits and it would really send a message. So yeah, that's my take on it. Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev is still currently in play for December, but they're looking to have it maybe at the O2 with no fans at all. And hey, at the end of the day, fans or no fans, I'm still going to watch the fight. I'm still interested to see how Anthony Joshua deals with Kubrat Pulev. Maybe it will be refreshing for Anthony Joshua not to have fans in the arena. Maybe Anthony Joshua will actually perform better without the fans. Because when they were having fight camp, Joshua was talking about wanting to fight, in Eddie Hearn's back garden. Whereas you have other fighters like, let's say, Derek Chisora, who were reluctant to fight without fans because he really thrives off the energy of the fans. Whereas Anthony Joshua is a different type of character. He deals with the fans and he tries to calm his nerves, and he does so very successfully. And in some fights, like, for example, the Klitschko fight, without those 80,000, 90,000, whatever it was at Wembley cheering him on, he might not have been able to come back from the brink of defeat. So I don't want to underestimate how much fans might have lifted AJ in some fights in the past. But at the same time, maybe the fans were detrimental to AJ in the first Ruiz fight. Maybe the fans were detrimental to AJ in the Dillian Whyte fight because they got him too excited. He was going off the energy of the fans wanting to deliver a spectacular knockout. And against Dillian Whyte, he got himself clipped and hurt, and it was a tough battle. And against Andy Ruiz first time around, he got battered and beaten and lost. So, yeah, maybe AJ will put in a more clinical performance and a calmer performance against Pulev with no fans than he would with fans. All remains to be seen. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.